Genesis chapter 37. Jacob dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. When Joseph was 17 years old, being a shepherd, he was with his brothers and with the flocks, and he was a lad, and was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought evil tales about them to their father. And Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons, because he was a son of his old age, and he made him a fine woolen coat. And his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, so they hated him, and they could not speak with him peacefully. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told his brothers, and they continued to hate him. And he said to them, "Listen now to this dream which I have dreamed. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the midst of the field, and behold, my sheaf arose and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves encircled it and prostrated themselves to my sheaf." So his brothers said to him, "Will you reign over us, or will you govern us?" And they continued further to hate him on account of his dreams and on account of his words. But he again dreamed another dream, and he related it to his brothers. And he said, "Behold, I have dreamed another dream, and behold, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were prostrating themselves to me." And he told it to his father and to his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Will we come, I, your mother, and your brothers, to prostrate ourselves to you on the ground?" So his brothers envied him, but his father awaited the matter. And his brothers went to pasture their father's flocks in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are your brothers not pasturing in Shechem? Come, and I will send you to them." And he said to him, "Here I am." So he said to him, "Go now and see to your brother's welfare and the welfare of the flocks, and bring me backward." So he sent him from the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. Then a man found him, and behold, he was straying in the field, and the man asked him, saying, "What are you looking for?" And he said, "I am looking for my brothers. Tell me now, where are they pasturing?" And the man said, "They have traveled away from here, for I overheard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers, and he found them in Dothan. And they saw him from afar, and when he had not yet drawn near to them, they plotted against him to put him to death. So they said one to the other, "Behold, the dreamer is coming. So now let us kill him, and we will cast him into one of the pits. And we will say, 'A wild beast devoured him.' And we will see what will become of his dreams." But Reuben heard, and he saved him from their hands. And he said, "Let us not deal him a deadly blow." And Reuben said to them, "Do not shed blood. Cast him into this pit, which is in the desert, but do not lay a hand upon him, in order to save him from their hands, to return him to his father." Now it came to pass, when Joseph came to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his shirt, of the fine woolen coat which was upon him. And they took him and cast him into the pit. Now the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal. And they lifted their eyes and saw, and behold, a caravan of Ishmaelites was coming from Gilead, and their camels were carrying spices, balm, and lotus, going to take it down to Egypt. And Judah said to his brothers, "What is the gain if we slay our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. But our hand shall not be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh." And his brothers hearkened. Then Midianite merchants passed by, and they pulled and lifted Joseph from the pit. And they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 silver pieces, and they brought Joseph to Egypt. And Reuben returned to the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, so he rent his garments. And he returned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone, and I, where will I go?" And they took Joseph's coat, and they slaughtered a goat, and they dipped the coat in blood, and they sent the fine woolen coat, and they brought it to their father, and they said, we have found this. Now recognize whether it is your son's coat or not." He recognized it, and he said, "It is my son's coat. A wild beast has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn up." And Jacob rent his garments, he put sackcloth on his loins, and he mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to console him, but he refused to be consoled. For he said, "Because I will descend on account of my son as a mourner to the grave." And his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him to Egypt, to Potiphar, Pharaoh's chamberlain, chief of the slaughterers. 38. Now it came about at that time that Judah was demoted by his brothers, and he turned away until he came to an Adullamite man named Zerah. And there Judah saw the daughter of a merchant named Shua, and he took her and came to her. And she conceived and bore a son, and he named him And she conceived again and bore a son, and she named him Onan. Once again she bore a son, and she named him Shelah. And he, Judah, was in Chezib when she gave birth to him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, named Tamar. Now Judah's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of the Lord, and the Lord put him to death. So Judah said to Onan, "Come to your brother's wife and perform the rite of the Levirate, and raise up progeny for your brother." Now Onan knew that the progeny would not be his, and it came about when he came to his brother's wife, he wasted his semen on the ground in order not to give seed to his brother. Now what he did was evil in the eyes of the Lord, and he put him to death also. Then Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, "Remain as a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up." For he said, "Lest he too die like his brothers." So Tamar went, and she remained in her father's house. Many days passed, and Shua's daughter, Judah's wife, died. Judah was consoled, and he went up to watch over his sheep shearers, he and Zerah, his Adullamite friend, to Timnah. And it was told to Tamar, saying, "Behold, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep." She took off her widow's garb, covered her head with a veil, and covered her face. And she sat down at the crossroads that were on the way to Timnah, for she saw that Shelah had grown up. But as for her, she was not given to him for a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a harlot because she covered her face. So he turned aside toward her to the road, and he said, "Get ready now, I will come to you." For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, "What will you give me that you should come to me?" And he said, "I will send a kid from the herd." And she said, "Only if you give me a pledge until you send it." So he said, "What is the pledge that I should give you?" And she said, "Your signet, your cloak, and the staff that is in your hand." So he gave them to her, and he came to her, and she conceived his likeness. Then she arose and went away, and she took off her veil, and she donned her widow's garb. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his Adullamite friend to take the pledge from the woman's hand, but he did not find her. So he asked the people of the place, saying, "Where is the harlot who was at the crossroads on the way?" And they said, "No harlot was here." So he turned to Judah, and he said, "I have not found her." And the people of the place also said, "No harlot was here." So Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, lest we become a laughingstock. Behold, I sent this kid, but you did not find her." Now it came after nearly 3 months that it was told to Judah, saying, "Your daughter-in-law Tamar has played the harlot, and behold, she is pregnant from harlotry." So Judah said, "Bring her out and let her be burned." She was taken out, and she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "From the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant." And she said, "Please recognize whose signet ring, cloak, and staff are these." Then Judah recognized them, and he said, "She is right. It is from me, because I did not give her to my son Shelah." But he no longer continued to be intimate with her. And it came about at the time she was giving birth that, behold, there were twins in her womb. And it came about when she gave birth that he, the infant, stretched out his hand. So the midwife took and bound a crimson thread on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." And it came about, as he was drawing back his hand, behold, his brother emerged. And she said, "With what strength have you strengthened yourself?" And he, Judah, named him Perez. Afterward,